Port Jervis. Happy Port Pride Friday, and welcome to the Port Connects podcast. My name is Andrew Murata, host of the podcast, and we are in studio. We're in the office here. Very blessed, very fortunate today to have Second Lieutenant.
That's right.
Second Lieutenant Danny Klotz, recent West Point graduate, 2020 Port Jervis graduate, salutatorian. Valedictorian. Forgive me. Valedictorian. I knew he was right there. Valedictorian and just an amazing kid. Danny, welcome back.
Great to be back.
Yeah, he had like 5 minutes home, and here he is giving back to his school district coming. He's on a short leave here before heading to Alabama.
Fort Rucker.
Are you driving there? Do you have to drive like your stuff?
We got two cars, my car and my parents' car. We're driving, I think it's like 17 hours down there.
Man. So. Well, welcome back. Again, Danny is a recent graduate of West Point Military Academy. Not all schools are created equal. Like I say that, I get goosebumps thinking about how proud we are of Danny, of you, and all the hard work that went into that. So, welcome back.
Great to be back.
Yeah. How are you feeling? The graduation was May, end of May?
Yeah, May 24th.
Okay. I mean, it's been a busy time. You had a couple of weeks here. How are you feeling with all of it?
I'm feeling really good. I was just telling him I shaved off my leave beard. I had a nice time off, saw some weddings, went traveling with my fiance and all that. But now it's time to get back to it. I'm going to go down to Alabama and report and start flight school soon. So
flight school, and specifically you're training on helicopters.
Yes, helicopters.
Not like the little ones they take around tourists in New York City, like Black Hawk.
Yeah,
combat helicopters.
Yeah, so you start on Lakota, and then based on how well you do, you get to choose by order of merit which helicopter you'll go to. So I'm hoping for Blackhawks.
Wow. That's exciting. How long are you there, Danny, at that facility?
So it's about 52 to 60 or so weeks of school, but there's gaps between the various different schools. So you end up being there for about 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you say school, like I know school, like school, but you earned a degree in physics here. Do you get a master's, or is there some sort of academic component to it too, or it's just military school?
It's definitely academic in a way, but you don't get a degree as much as you get certifications.
Okay.
Actually, I was just in Switzerland, and they told me the United States certifications on helicopters are like the international standard.
Oh,
so I was pretty excited for that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. You get a lot of flight certifications on different aircraft that you fly.
Yeah.
The academic portion is that you have to learn the books first. So a lot of it is memorization, learning all the mechanics. I've heard about a lot of prior service guys who work on aircraft flying through that and then getting to focus on the flying. So I'm hoping to find some of them, have them helping me out with my homework and my studying, and get real good at it.
I can imagine. So a lot of people watching. I know Danny's family is watching. Is that our friend Josh watching? Is that Jay Klotz?
That might be my dad.
Okay, Mr. Klotz, welcome. But please jump in and say hello and offer Danny some congratulations. Danny, you're a physics major there. Why flight school? You think of flight, people think of the Air Force Academy, but why flight school in the Army?
It's a great question. I didn't think my eyes were good enough. Was the one. But I wanted to mix technical with also people and kind of combat maneuver. And I think aviation does that the best because it's a very academic and a branch full of experts. Everyone in the aviation branch is an expert in something. Can't really just get straight out of high school and go straight into it. It's a lot of school to be any job in aviation. And as a pilot in aviation, you're not only managing aircraft, but you're managing people as well. And both are equally complex. Some would say that the people are a lot more complex. And that's my job, is to be part of both of those worlds. And that's what excited me about aviation the most, was that it's both of those things, and it's serving other branches, taking what they do and bringing it up a level, literally. So I'm very excited about that.
Wow. Congratulations again. This is Danny Klotz, class of 2020. Danny, you did a lot here as a student. You came to us in high school, um, wrestling. You earned your Eagle Scout, took honor level classes, things like that. Talk to us about your time in Port Jervis schools and how that helped prep you for these things. You were always on a higher level, but how did some of the things you were involved with, your wrestling coaches, the Mr. Santoses, the Deb Caceres of the world, how did they help get you or prepare you for where you are now?
It's a great question because I feel like everything that I brought to West Point came from when I was in high school and a little bit before. And I think the most important thing that I learned was definitely just finding and building community. Because the most important thing to me at West Point was just the people that were with me. And that's what, you won't miss the homework at West Point. You might miss the views, but really I'm just going to miss being with my friends, working together. Being on the wrestling team, there was days at West Point where I was like, man, I had harder days on the wrestling team. This isn't so bad, like this workout could have been worse if Mr. Foley was the one running it. So, we can make it through. But like Mr. Santos always would say, luck has nothing to do with it. And that's definitely true in West Point in the Army. Sometimes it's all about just making your own luck, Yeah. So I kind of brought all that with me. Is that Port Jervis, it was all about people. And that's what it's like at West Point as well, and that's what it's like in the Army. So,
got to see that on a couple different occasions. Even after the ceremony, it was busy. There was a lunch, there was this, and then there was these groups where people got to have almost like an individual ceremony. The pinning was really beautiful. But Danny had a lot of friends there. You had a lot of people there, and certainly your family. It was on the side of the mountain. It was just perfect.
Yeah. It was a great day.
It was. But I got to see the community, your friends, all your family. It was beautiful. And another experience, Danny, I remember so vividly was the building of the benches. If you go to the front of the high school, that was Danny's Eagle Scout project, was those beautiful benches. Not a standard bench, Mr. Klotz, that design. But the people you had there, it was like a conveyor belt. It was all set up, and you had a community of people there.
Yeah.
Family, teachers, friends. And it all worked.
Yeah, National Honor Society, they all volunteered to put together the benches. And my dad and I built, I think we called it a jig, so that you could just place it all in, screw it all together, and it would all come together very, very quick. It was actually surprisingly fast how fast we put them all together. I was very thankful for everybody who came out that day.
It was the community, and I'm not surprised how smooth it went. Your dad, you, and voluntold, Miss Cassera, right? You get them in there, and it was great. Danny, I see the ring. I proudly wear my college ring here, but I see the ring. Could you hold that up close here? Yeah, there it is there. How do you feel walking around with that? How do you feel?
Well, it's different every day, I'd say, but I think probably there's 2 days that stand out to me. I guess 3 days. The first day I put it on, it didn't fit me well, but it fits. I didn't get the size change. It's just that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm at West Point. Like that 3 years in, and now I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm at West Point. And then the next day that it really was like, wow, was that on the back of the ring is my class crest. And when we were receiving our branches, so when I was told that I got aviation, sitting there with all my classmates, and they're showing clips of all of our years at West Point, including the day when we were shown our class crest for the first time.
Wow.
And here I am, and I'm sitting with it on my ring, and I was like, wow, that was yesterday, and here I am today, about to get my branch. I'm about to be, it's like getting your Hogwarts house, you're like, I've been chosen for something. And then, of course, graduation was the next day. When you're at West Point, you wear the crest closer to yourself. But once you go and cross the bridge for graduation, you flip it. And now this is the West Point crest on this side. And it's about the fact that while you're at West Point, What's most important is people around you, your class.
Yeah.
But once you leave West Point, now you're part of the long gray line. So it's all about all of West Point. So
I've had this is tremendous. Wow.
I mean, I didn't have to come up with any of that. That's all just a part of the class rings.
Sure.
West Point invented class rings. Actually, I didn't know that until I arrived, but it was really
How
they're
about
very
that?
special to West Point.
Wow.
I know Air Force and Navy try to copy us, but they don't quite get it like we do.
Well, it looks great, and just again thrilled for you, Danny. People look at you now and say, "Oh, it's all easy for him. He's a bright kid. He's in shape." It didn't go your way right off the bat. You weren't the first on their list. Can you share a little bit about the little detour you took on your way there? Because the resilience you showed, the stick to itness, the fortitude, is admiring. So, can you share that?
Yeah. So I think my mom would remember the exact day, but I think it was April 17th, maybe. Was the day. It was in 2020. Obviously, we're all home like for COVID. The whole time, I'm just saying, all I have to do is get into West Point. Everything will be okay. All this COVID stuff, it won't matter. But it's like April 17th. I get a note. It says, "Hey, didn't make it in. Don't have space for you. Can't do it." And I was like, "Oh man, what am I gonna do?"
It was a letter. You got a letter?
Yeah, it was like a letter, and I was like, "This isn't the big fat packet you want to get in the mail." So I kind of tried to just forget West Point because I had an ROTC scholarship and I had a pretty good ride to Fordham. So I was like, forget West Point. We're just gonna put everything we have into this, see what we got going on.
Quickly, you did that quickly.
I tried to. I had the whole summer to just say, you know what, I'm ROTC. I'm ready. I've got this big opportunity for me, and I loved ROTC. It was great.
You lived on Fordham campus? You were down there in the
Fordham
Bronx?
Campus. I love my friends there. They're all officers now. They graduated a year ahead of me.
Of course they did, yeah.
So I'm very proud of them. But I loved ROTC, but I wasn't for Fordham. It was day 3 of orientation, and I was sitting there, and I'm like, man, this is not the school I'm supposed to go to. And I took out my phone, and I started reapplying to West Point on my phone.
Your mom's putting in the date here. At the orientation, you started that.
Yeah, we're watching.
Wow.
It was COVID, so things were weird. So we were watching a lecture in a classroom, but the lecture was on Zoom. So everyone was kind of like, what's going on here? I don't get it. But we were all trying to figure it out. And so I pull out my phone and I started reapplying. And then, did the whole application. All my friends at Fordham kind of made fun of me a little bit because, going to West Point, we all had a little bit of rivalry with West Point since we're ROTC, we're nearby. But another one of my friends from Fordham actually also got into West Point that same year.
Wow.
We both graduated and we're both going to be aviators. Wow. So it's really neat. The two of us kind of had the same path where we both, applied, didn't get in, and then we made it in, and now we're both going to be aviators. But I think it gave me some perspective because it went from West Point was all about, not all about, but there was a part of it that was like, I'm going to be the first since Mr. David Ferris to go to West Point, or I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that, I'm Eagle Scout, I'm this, I'm that. I had to, I dropped all that, and I said, no, this is actually going to extend my college time, but I think it's worth it to become the person that I want to be and get the opportunities to meet the people I want to meet and be, challenged in that way. And I think, I have no regrets on that. I think if I had gone straight out of high school, my experience wouldn't have been nearly as fantastic as what I got from the perspective I got from going to college and being an ROTC. And also being able to tell people at West Point who are wondering, man, this really isn't for me. I'm like, well, ROTC is great. Like, I met some of the best cadets who are now the best officers in my life in ROTC. Yeah. So when I tell people, I'm like, if this is for you, go to ROTC. It's great. I can actually mean that, that's a great option for people. Which is, it was comforting for me. Is then I never had any doubts that was what I wanted to do. It was never anything like that.
I'm like speechless, Danny. Yeah. So many kids, something doesn't go their way, they blame. This, I got screwed. Your attitude and your focus on that is incredible. Yeah, you're going places. Yeah,
I'm trying.
Did you get some Italian food at Arthur Avenue there, and then
Yes,
report
I
them?
did. Yes, I did.
Yeah.
A few times.
Yeah.
I think my favorite time was my mom and my aunt were there, and we were looking for fresh mozzarella. And my aunt says, "Where can we find some fresh mozzarella?" And it was like an Italian movie. Everybody popped out of places and were like, "Fresh mozzarella, fresh mozzarella." They were coming out of windows, "Fresh mozzarella." And they're pointing us directions. We're like, "Okay, we're on Arthur Avenue." So
what a great story. Yeah. Oh, your wrestling coach is pulling in here. Coach Ferguson. Yeah. Very cool. Welcome, Coach. Thank you. Danny spoke about his time wrestling and what a great tradition here in Port Jervis.
Coach Ferguson was the one. He would keep my grades a secret from the rest of the team because I was pretty high up in my class. But one day he said, "Danny, why did you miss a point on this assignment or something like that?" And he tells Joey Amato my grade point average, and Joey says, "Danny, I didn't know you were high up in your class. What rank are you?" And I was like, "I think I'm like number 1 right now." And he's like, "Oh, who's below you?" And I said, "Well, everybody else, Joey." It was like senior year. We had been wrestling together all that time.
Yeah.
Mr. Ferguson had kept my grades a secret from everybody, which was nice of him.
Yeah. But the focus, the incredible accolades here, the things you've accomplished. So you're heading to Alabama. You're engaged, like in the military academy. Obviously, you're not married there. Is your fiance, is he able to live with you on base, or you still have to be separate? How does that work now?
So
where you're going?
We're living off base,
Okay.
which most flight students do.
Okay.
It's a pretty small base for flight school, and most of the on-post housing is just for those flight instructors who stay there for a long time.
Got it.
So me and a lot of my classmates from West Point will be living right in the same neighborhood, and my fiance will live with me, so she's driving down with me.
So you're in a civilian home. It's your home with your fiance.
Yeah.
So like, if your bed isn't perfect, if the stuff isn't like,
nobody's
coming and yelling at you.
Nobody's coming to check on me, but my fiance will check on me. She's gonna make sure our home looks very good. She's very tidy.
She was incredible. Tell me her name again. Callie. I met her family there. Wonderful family. She was full of personality. Do you carry those rigid of the time, the bed? Do you still carry those characteristics and things you learned at West Point with you? Like, is your bed right now at home made perfectly?
No, it's not made perfectly.
No.
We make our beds very well at West Point, but you don't sleep inside the covers. You sleep on top of it, and you put like blankets down to make like a pseudo bed on top. But I think what I keep with me is that when I look at something and I think it should be better, more professional looking, I just do it myself, and I don't worry about who's going to inspect it. I think that's what they try to get you to at West Point, is that eventually you go from being inspected every day to doing the inspections for people. And the idea would be for me, like when I did inspections, was first I would look at my own room. Really, if I was inspecting my own room, what would I fix? And then I would fix all those things, and it's like, okay, now I'm ready to go inspect somebody else's room. And I think that's what, not everybody gets it. Some people are just like, oh, no, nobody's checking, so I'll just do it. But it's like, look at your own stuff and say, well, I'm the one who inspects, I'm the leader, so I don't need anybody to check on me. I'm just going to do it the right way because that's who I am. And I think I'm taking that with me.
Yeah.
And I better, because Callie's very clean, so I got to make sure her home looks good.
That was a great kind of analogy there, Danny. That's awesome. Where do you want to go with this? You're going to become a pilot? You're going to the aviation? Will you stay in the Army? Is that not decided yet? Where do you see yourself going 5-10 years down the road?
Definitely not decided yet. My commitment as a pilot is 10 years. So I'll be in until about, I'll be about 33, 35 years old when my commitment's up. Um, but by that point, so much can happen. I'm hoping to work in kind of like space industry, aeronautics, stuff like that. Or if I can, within the Army, keep on pursuing pilot positions and kind of use that experience to push my career further. But whether I stay in the Army, move out to something else is kind of just dependent on where's my family at and what opportunities are there. So
Yeah.
I'm excited about it, though. I don't think there's any really bad opportunities in the Army, especially as an aviator. So I'm excited about it.
Capital PORT with that, Danny. You've created those from your time here in Port. You mentioned your family again, and again, they were all there at your graduation. Your sister Shannon works here in the district, a celebrity art teacher. She's a rock star. Our whole art department, but Shannon, you are a shining star. Your brother Josh is a Port Jervis graduate as well, class of 19.
Yes, 2019.
Josh is also Down syndrome, and I asked Danny if I could ask him about it, for your family. But Josh is an amazing person, an amazing spirit. Talk to me about your relationship with your brother and the skills of working with a young man with Down syndrome. How has that impacted you?
Well, I wrote about it when I was trying to get into West Point. Definitely with Josh, he kind of teaches people, one, you can make it just about anywhere just by being nice to everybody. It was no problem to leave him at like a football game by himself, because by the time he came back, he probably would have had a hot dog and a soda bought for him by somebody else, because he would go talk to somebody, and everybody loved talking to Josh.
Oh, yeah.
And he's just that guy. It's just kindness is what it's all about. But also, he can get frustrated about things, but it's really just about the way that you pose them and the way that you speak about things. Because like during my graduation, it was hot. That it was hot. It was starting to rain. I was getting sunburned. He was getting sunburned. He's frustrated. We're hungry for lunch. And, he's just saying, hey, I'm hungry for lunch. And we're all like, hey, Josh, what, we're all hungry for lunch. But I just pulled him over and I'm like, me too. And he's like, yeah, nice. Like we're all hungry for lunch. And that's all it takes. But actually, Josh was the reason, he tells everybody about this. He's the reason that I found out about West Point in the first place, because he's a Special Olympian, a gold medalist Special Olympian. He's won many races in the 100 meter, 200 meter. But I went to West Point with him. I must have been like 7th grade or something like that, to support him in the Special Olympics. And here are all the cadets. They're wearing PTs, so they're wearing shorts and T-shirts that say Army on them. Nothing fancy. We're on the outskirts of West Point on one of the big fields, but they're holding the Special Olympics. And I'm looking at these cadets, and they must have all been 8 feet tall at the time. And I don't know what happened to all the height thing. I thought I would be 8 feet tall. But they must have all been 8 feet tall, because I was like, oh my gosh, look at these guys. Like, they're incredible. And the way they treated Josh was incredible. They were all so comfortable just treating everyone with kindness and respect, and helping them out any way they could. And they were running the whole event. There was no, adults there, right? It was just them. And I was like, Mom, who are these guys, right? They're in the Army, but they're here. Like, what's the deal? And she tells me about it. And I was like, that's what I want to be. That's what I want to do. I didn't know that they had all the fancy hats and the fancy things and the fancy West Point until I started touring it later on. But that's how I found out about West Point. And Josh likes to tell everybody about that, because if it wasn't for him, I probably would have not found out about it. And my mom would have been a lot happier, because I wouldn't have been going into the Army and making her nervous. So,
well, I know your mom is proud of you, your dad, for where you are and the young man you have become. And Josh, kudos to you. Kudos to you for being that Special Olympian, inviting your family, and look at the good things that have come. I remember being at one of the award banquets, and Josh was awarded for being, I think it was the basketball manager, right? And the way the coach spoke about him, and the relationships he made with those young men. And so, Josh, thank you for doing that for your brother and the person you are. So cool, Danny. I know you're busy squeezing us in. Anything else you wanted to share? Anything else you wanted to say about your time or what you're going through now?
I'd like to say just to anyone who's looking to join the Army, become an officer, go to West Point even, I'd love for you to reach out to me. If you know Shannon Klotz, you can get my contact information. Mr. Murata has my contact information as well. I'd really love to share my experiences because I had somebody share their experiences when I was looking at West Point, and it's just a special place to be. And I would love to just share with anybody who wants to look into that, even if it's not what's going to be for you. I think knowing about it can really be impactful. So
awesome. Danny, before I let you go, again, you were always at a high level wrestling, high level academics, high level with your family. Pressure. Did you feel pressure at West Point to perform? Some of our highest achievers are involved in so many things, and they're working, and they're on the honor roll. There's a lot. How did you deal with that pressure? Did you feel pressure? Is that a lot for you, or was it a lot for you?
Yeah, it was always a lot of pressure, I think, when you're at West Point because you're with so many high achievers. But I think I would always have to remind myself of the comparison is thief of joy type of thing, because there were times when I would think too much about what I was achieving rather than who I was impacting. And I think my graduation was where it all kind of made sense to me, because seeing the cadets that were there supporting me and thinking that they're looking up to me when I admire them so much, like guys on the teams I was on who are incredible, I'm like, what are you admiring me for? Like, you're like Superman. But just seeing that someone so incredible could care about you and admire you in a way, it's like, well, that's really like all the awards you need. Like, that's really the impact that you make. So that was what kind of got me through of feeling that pressure. It's like, I have my people with me, and as long as they think well of me and they love me, then we're all good.
Well, they love you. They're watching here today, and a lot of our community's watching. So thank you for tuning in. Josh, there's third and fourth graders that might watch this. There's sixth and seventh graders that might watch this. There's families that are going to say, hey, look at this kid. What's your message to all those young Port Jervis students that say, hey, maybe I'd like to do that one day? What's your message to those kids?
I'll tell you what my grandfather told me. I have it inscribed on my ring. Focus. He didn't explain what it meant, but I think what it means is focus on what makes your life better, what gets you excited, makes life better for other people, and just focus on where you want to go and who you want to be and why you're doing it. And I think you can't go wrong. So.
Danny shared that story during the pinning ceremony. Mentioned your grandparents; they were at all your events.
Yep.
And that was beautiful to hear. That was a nice tribute to your grandpa. So, thank you for that, friends. This is Second Lieutenant Danny Klotz. Super proud. You think about Port Pride. You think about our kids here in Port Jervis, and here's one of these young men. And your future is bright, Danny. Our slogan here in Port Jervis is proud past, bright future. Well, you are that future. You are that Port Pride. So we're really happy for you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for a few minutes today.
Absolutely.
To the Klotz family, thank you. Corey, absolutely.
Thank you.
Your dad, look at your dad, throwing you under the bus on the podcast that your bed wasn't made. He had a busy morning, Dad. Our friend Melissa Kinman, wonderful kids here also. So thanks for tuning in. A lot of people here, Danny watching, so very cool. Well, we wish you luck. Certainly be safe, take care of yourself, and we will be watching. And if we can help you, please, Danny, let's stay in touch, okay?
Absolutely.
Be safe. All right. Danny Klotz, everybody. Danny, we are going to sign off here on the podcast. One last question, Danny. It's a Port Pride Friday. I forgive you for wearing green. It's okay. But it's a Port Pride Friday. What does Port Pride mean to you?
Port Pride is about community. I mean, that's what Port's all about. So Port Pride is about finding your community, building a community, and supporting your community. Support. I saw this posters. I like that. So that's what Port Pride's all about.
Awesome. Danny Klotz, be safe. We are going to sign off here on the podcast. Friends, the Firemen's Parade is tomorrow through Port Jervis. Our very own Kelly Decker is one of the, forgive me, Kelly, the ambassadors or one of the lead people there in the parade. A shout out to all of our firefighters, emergency services. It's the 167th Firemen's Parade, one of the longest in the country. So Port Jervis will certainly come alive. And then the National Night Out is scheduled for the first week of August. We're going to submit that information out. Again, community events here in Port Jervis. So come out. And as Danny said, support, P-O-R-T. Lastly, a shout out to all of our businesses out there. The graduate signs are out there. They hung the kids' banners in their windows, and it was really nice to make those connections. So if there are banners in a local store, please stop in, say thank you, and certainly show your patronage there to our businesses here in Port Jervis. So thanks, everyone. We are going to sign off on the podcast. Danny, how about a go Port?
Go Port.
Bam. See you, everybody.